Hello again, and welcome to yet another episode of Healing for the Family. This is indeed a podcast we hope will redeem the family as a basic unit of society. We're grateful for your continued support and your continued faithfulness and walking this journey with us as we try and bring God's healing into our families. We are back from a 2 weeks break. We had taken a 2 weeks break to rest, rejuvenate, refresh ourselves, and just think a bit more about the content that we want to bring. And thank you for those who have continued to connect with us and share with us some of the ideas or conversations you'd like us to have. And yes, we have brought one of those conversations on our episode today, and for the next 2 weeks, we are going to have a conversation about raising teenagers. And if you are a parent of a teenager, this is a conversation you definitely want to be a part of. I am so privileged to be joined by Shalom, a friend I'm getting to make. I've seen Shalom and followed her content and her ministry from a distance, and I am grateful that she accepted our invitation to be part of these episodes on raising teenagers. Karibu sana, Shalom. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and stuff like that.
Wow. So yes, my name is Shalom Munyiri. I'm basically somebody who's really passionate about family. So in a nutshell, what I do is connect generations.
Connect generations.
Yes, connect generations. So how we do it, I run an organization called Retro. Retro Group Limited is the full name. And so at Retro, we run programs that will help teenagers basically understand themselves better, love life. We sort of like equip them with life skills, and not just teenagers. We work with children.
Children as well,
As young, well, the youngest group I've worked with were 5 years old. Like 5 to 8. But now I focus more on the 9, 10-year-olds, moving on upwards to the teenagers, young adults, just before, in that transition period between high school and campus. Equipping them with life skills just to basically handle what's coming their way. Then we also work with parents. Of course, because parents are the ones spending time with these children. I work with teachers, and therefore in school settings, we do teacher training sessions. We do just, again, equipping them to just understand this younger generation. And then also a bit of the corporate wellness. Because these young adults are becoming the major workforce, but they're failing. They're failing miserably. And there's a whole generation of employees on that end who also don't understand the younger generation. So that's who we work with.
There's been a lot of talk and memes and jokes, fun being made about the Gen Zs and the Gen Zs at the workplace.
And now, the people who are making fun of them, they don't realize those are the guys who are going to be in charge.
They're going to be in charge
older.
a few years.
So it will be payback time. But anyway,
it will be payback time.
It will be payback time.
Karibu
that's
sana.
What we do. Thank you.
It's connecting generations. That's a word you have used. Why is there a need for us to connect generation? Why is the gap? What is causing those gaps?
I think, yes, so for sure there is a gap. But what's causing it is everybody wants to do life. Okay, let me put it this way. The older generation has been here longer. They have then ended up, okay, let me not say everybody, but a good majority have ended up being very rigid in their thinking. They have this fixed mindset that if things worked, then why are we changing it? We need to do things
don't
our
fix
way.
What's not broken.
Only that they haven't realized how broken
it is.
How broken it actually is. We're not bringing up a generation that's as resilient as we were. Right? And therefore you can't expect to put them through the same thing without equipping them with the skills to meet that challenge.
To meet the challenges of their time.
And is it that they cannot meet the challenge? Yes, they can. The young people I've worked with have always risen up to the challenge once they understand what the expectation is. A long time ago, there was the village, the people around us used to help fill that gap. They used to help us basically know what's expected.
Yeah.
So even when the parent didn't necessarily say it, there was somebody, the neighbor, there was a teacher, there was somebody who cared enough for the younger generation.
It took a village then.
Exactly. Now we are keeping to ourselves. The more you keep to yourself, the more you disconnect from. We are human beings who are created social. The more we are keeping to ourselves as family, the more we are disconnecting from society. And now that disconnect is translating into the intergenerational disconnect. Everything. I mean, look, you're even in a church setting. We have Sunday school where kids go directly to their own church. If you look at the mainstream churches, the kids used to go to the main church.
To the mainstream church.
They praised and worshipped with the adults. They saw adults praying. Then they transitioned out to go do their Bible classes.
Their lessons,
That doesn't happen too much anymore. And so you find that disconnect is becoming institutionalized. Yes.
Wow. So we are working very hard to disconnect.
Without knowing that we are working very hard to disconnect. The workplace does not support parenting.
Yes.
The workplace is demanding so much from parents and not supporting them to be there for their children. So what do they need to do? Delegate the parenting role. And then they get the flack for it, you know. So.
And you said something very interesting that I want to touch on before we proceed. You said there are expectations on the younger generation. And they don't understand these expectations. Is it that our generation, the older generation, and maybe we should define what we mean by older generation, but is it that our generation is not doing a good job communicating what the expectations are?
Yes.
Or is it that we are so hung up, so stuck up on our past experiences, and that's, the world has changed. Cultures are changing. I did a hangout this last weekend with boys at 10, 12 preteens, And by the way, this is a confession. I didn't know that you can count numbers up to, I think it's Googleplex. Googleplex is the last. So from Googleplex, you go to infinity. I didn't know that. Googleplex, I think it has about 1 and about 100 zeros. So from 100, 2 zeros, a million, 6 zeros, like that. So Googleplex has 100 zeros. I was taught this by a 12, I think it's a 12-year-old this last Sunday. I didn't know that. These kids are so exposed, right? They know a lot more than we did at their age. And they know so much more than we know ourselves now.
True.
All right?
But
just say what you want to say.
Do they know what it is, what to do with it?
Do they know what to do with the information?
When you know that Googleplex has all those zeros, how is that going to...
How is it going to help you?
What is it for? What's all that? Yes, they have all the information. Do they know what to do with it? So there is information in their hands. Yes.
So what is our responsibility? So answer the question for me on how do we communicate expectations better to them? And how do we help them use the resources and tools that we didn't have that are now in their hands to be able to make a better life for themselves?
If you think about some of the things that we tell young people, you tell them grow up. Or act like a grown-up. Okay. So how should a grown-up act? Considering that the grown-ups are not setting a good example. When you see the teen behaving like what they know a grown-up is, then you start telling them, okay, you shouldn't. That's confusing. We tell them we want them to be responsible. Okay, one of the things that's really hurting 18-year-olds, they are growing up protected. Then they turn 18 and they say, now I'm an adult. And the parent tells them, okay, now that you're an adult, be responsible.
Be responsible.
What does be responsible mean? You've never allowed this kid to get onto a matatu. You've never allowed them to see you pay a bill. And unfortunately, nowadays we have M-Pesa, so you just pay on your phone. You could be chatting on WhatsApp. You could be browsing through a porn site. You could be all of it YouTube, looks the same. So this child grows up needing to be responsible, but they have no idea the steps to take to actually show or prove that they're responsible, or even take that responsibility. So again, what do we want them to be responsible for? I'm struggling so much with parents who are not allowing their children to cook. Yes, I know labor is cheap in Kenya, so you're able to employ a maid who will cook for your kids all the time. But if you don't teach them how to cook, what do you want them to do when they leave your house? If they do leave your house, who will feed them? Yes, they could order Uber Eats, Bolt Food, whatever.
Glovo,
all that is there. What happens when the money runs out? What happens when they get fired? All right. Will they show up to a job in time? So it's to look at, before you think, how do I communicate? Look at what you need to be communicating. Because there's communication that will require word of mouth. There's communication that will require setting an example. Giving them the opportunities to actually experience that thing that they will experience when they're older. So communication is not just verbal. Communication includes everything we do as the grown-ups in their lives. Yes.
And they watch.
They're watching and they're learning.
They're watching and they're learning. And they are learning more from what they are seeing us do than from what we are saying.
We learned more from seeing what our parents did.
From seeing what our parents did than what they said. My friend has actually, this is a friend we share. I know you know Zoga. I was observing his son yesterday. Matana is what, 8 months now? It's about 8 months. So almost a year. So we sat on the table eating lunch, and he was eating from his mother's plate, and just observing him doing what his mother is doing. Then we placed him on the table, and as we continued to talk, he took one of our phones and he placed it on his ears, and he started talking. I'm like, where did you learn? How do you even know? And now
he was born with a phone.
He was born with a phone. And then his mother made a very interesting observation and said, he's actually yelling on the phone. Where has he seen people yell on the phone? How has he learned that people learn? Everywhere. He's seen it. He's seen it at home. He's seen it. He's seen it. When people are on, even on TV. And so in his mind, the phone is that thing you pick and put in your ear and start yelling. That's what he was doing. So they are learning more from what they are seeing us doing, and they're becoming who we are. And then we have a problem with it.
Yeah, they're actually becoming an external version of who we are. Because when you're yelling on the phone, why are you yelling? All right? You may be yelling out of frustration. You may be yelling out of excitement, or whatever it is. You may be yelling because yelling is the way you talk. Now, if the child does not understand why you're yelling, they won't know how to pick those social cues, right? So what they end up doing is what they are seeing us do, as opposed to what we are actually doing. So it's how they interpret. It's interpretation. Yes. When I observe you, all I can do is interpret what it is that I think you're doing. Yes. In relationships, let's look at relationships, because relationships are one of the things that teenagers are getting into very early. When they see their parents interact, they do not know that their parents could be faking a love relationship, right? So they end up acting out adult relationships, doing what they think the adult is doing, but not going through, not having the actual experience that the adult is having. So here are moms basically pretending that everything is okay. So what happens? The girl will assume. No, the girl won't be pretending. The girl will be assuming that everything is okay. That's how it's supposed to be. So dad insults mother. Mother does nothing about it. Girl decides, okay, insults is kawaida. So I'm going to do what I see.
So you've said, even also at the introduction, I caught some very interesting things you're saying, and so I want to stick there for a little bit. You said this generation of young people, of children, is not as resilient as we were, as our generation was. What causes the difference? Why is it that this generation is not that resilient?
Experience. It's experience. What builds resilience is challenges, adversity, and meeting those challenges. and facing that adversity and actually getting to the other side of it. And then you build that confidence that, oh, I can actually do this. This won't break me. But as long as we are not letting our children have certain experiences, then when they meet it for the first time, they're terrified. So it's not that they don't have the ability to be resilient. It's that resilience is not being built into them.
Resilience is not being built
every time you do something for your child, you're denying them an opportunity to do it for themselves or to experience it themselves. And when you deny a child that opportunity, what you're doing, you're also denying them the chance to grow.
I don't know how what I'm about to say will sound, but first of all, I feel, and it could be just my opinion, that a lot is blamed on parenting. A lot is blamed on, and parents cannot help but feel
pressure.
That, the pressure, and we are failing at this, at this, and we are not doing everything we ought to do or everything we need to do. That's one. And secondly, I think there is also a certain sense of fear in parents, and I'm saying fear because that's the word that's coming to my mind. The fear that we don't want to raise our children the way we were raised. If you think about how we were raised, some of it is very traumatic, isn't it? Some of it, the kind of discipline we experience is very disciplined. Is very different from the discipline that we are meeting out on our children now. It wasn't discipline. It was it was violence. it was violence. So how do we help parents, first of all, in inspiring confidence in parents and helping parents know you may not be doing it perfectly, but if you're doing something, you are doing something. Effort counts.
I don't like blaming parents at all. First and foremost, because I am one. Secondly, because I empathize with their lot, and I empathize with everything else that's going around that's not working for the parent, and that's not set up to allow the parent to succeed. So I start with saying, unfortunately, there's a reason why the blame happens. Because the buck stops with you. When God gave you that child, he didn't give that child to somebody else. Right? So everything that child says, does, etc., is likely to be a reflection of you. So it's to start with that. Once you understand that, is to then look around you and see, what do I have working for me or against me? These same people who say, we, our generation, who like saying the way we grew up. I remember my dad being available on Saturdays because he didn't need to work on a Saturday. I remember my mom being available evenings and weekends, right? Supermarkets, for crying out loud, used to be closed by a certain time. TV stations were not open up until a certain time. So the parents who were our parents that we try to say were better than we are, or whatever we might want to call it, their environment and the society then was pro-family to a great extent. It was pro-family to a great extent. Today, parents have to work extra hours to put the same meal on the table. Right? For me to be able to give my child what I got, even in terms of education. Right? Look at what has happened to the school system. So now we are having to take children so far away just to get better education. There's a time the estate school was a good school, right? So even as the parent is being blamed, we need to understand that life has changed and it's becoming less and less pro-family. So the parent of today has so much more going against them, right? Then now you've mentioned something else, discipline, and how we grew up facing the violence of the African mothers, as they say. And that's the same across Africa, not just Kenya. You find that because we focus on the beating that we got, we throw away the beating with the lesson. So when it comes to our children, because we don't want to beat them, we avoid the beating, and we also avoid the lesson. So it will take personal healing for parents who experience such things as children to be able to sort out what we call wheat and chaff, right?
Yes.
To be able to sort out the bad thing that happened and the good thing that was informing that bad action from their parents, or the good thing that came out of it. When you were denied, okay, fine. So there's people, you know that whole I was number one. And then we always ask, so if every parent was number one, who was number two? You know, like kind of thing. If we can be honest with our children about our struggles in life, we will set them up to understand, appreciate, and probably work even better. Why? When our parents told us they were always number one, we beat ourselves up for not being number one.
Oh,
right? We felt stupid. There was so much pressure to perform. Never mind that they were saying they were number one to encourage the child. So our question would be, how do I still encourage my child without lying to them? Yes, how do I get them to want to be that number one? So it's to look at, yes, whatever it was that we had when growing up was actually not all bad. It was also mainly informed by our parents wanting what's best for us. We had parents bringing us up whose parents had not gone to school. So for them, school was such an important thing. For us today, we were beaten to go to school, so we don't think school is an important thing. Again, advancement in technology. Is school really that important? Your child can actually learn a lot of stuff without ever having gone to formal school. So we are coming to a point where we really need to justify why a child needs to even go to a formal school, right? So it's to understand not everything in our past was bad. Can we bring a bit of it into the present and set our children up for success? But also look at our children's environment and see what can we use out of what they have to actually help them also grow.
To help them.
Back to that information thing that we're talking about. They have the information. What do they do with it? Right? Can we show them what to do with that information, the relevance of that info?
Wow. Helping them make use
of the information,
because information is good, but it could be dangerous if it is not used in the right way. And you know, children now are dealing with addictions from as young as 8 years old, even younger, because we have exposed them to information. They don't know what to do with the information, and you know, and sometimes I think it's also an escape. I mean, because of our absence, you know, you said a little earlier about how we have to work, this generation of parents having to work extra harder to put, you know, that
food
3 square meal on the table.
And pay the fees.
And especially the last 2 years, if you've been in public school systems.
Oh, that has been crazy.
Paid
4 times a year.
Pay 4 times a year. You're paying fees for 2 times in 1 month. Every 10 days you have to pay. You have to pay fees. So it's been hard, and for that reason, parents have in some ways have had to be absent, just trying to make ends meet. But that absence then ends up translating into the way our children are growing up, into, you know, what they're picking up and trying to parent themselves. And Pastor Marion gave me this term. Now, from among your children, there is one of them that is parentified, because you are absent. One of them has to feel the shoes, isn't it?
And sometimes, again, because something else, side effect of how society has become, we're having less children. So most children are actually alone at home. And wow. So there's the families are smaller.
The families are smaller.
Loneliness and serious isolation based on life circumstances. Not because the child wants to isolate themselves.
But you know what I think, Pastor Shalom, for every generation of parents, for every generation of humanity, God has made certain resources available that we can use. What is it for us, for our generation of parents, that you think?
I think my favorite is technology.
Technology,
Yes. My favorite is technology because information is out there for parents to actually do whatever it is. Do whatever it is to actually connect with their children. Back to my connecting generations.
Yes.
So your child is always on the phone. are you able to give them tasks to actually go research and you actually do them yourselves?
Yeah.
Everything from cooking to building stuff to whatever. Is there something that you can leverage on technology to actually do with your children?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are you saying,
yes,
for example, then that a solution would not be to take away the phone or to take away the technology? The solution would not be take away the technology,
yes,
but make it useful.
Back to what we were saying about children having stuff, but they don't know what to do with it.
But they don't know what to do with it.
What do you want them to do on that phone? Now, when we give, I like asking the question, when's the right age to actually give your child a gun?
Yeah.
A loaded gun?
Yeah. Your children have guns?
No, they don't. They haven't reached the age.
They haven't reached the age.
But anyway, the same way you wouldn't give a child a loaded gun unless they know how to make use of it, when to use it, how to control its use. That's the same thing with the phone. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm very afraid of saying, don't take away technology.
Yeah.
Because for some cases, that technology needs to be taken away immediately. Yes.
Yeah.
But then there's cases where you don't need to take away the technology. You just need to show the child how to use it and use it well. Right? So, yes. So let's take the phones. Let's assume your child. Let's talk about the ideal kid who's going to be able to use that equipment well. So what you do is, okay, fine. So they're on the phone. What are they doing on the phone? How long are they on the phone? They don't need to be on the phone all the time. Can they be reading books? Again, we don't provide alternatives to that technology. If they're reading a book and then they want to just dig a bit more into what's been said in the book, they can use the phone or the laptop to find out more information. But you see, they're getting a balance of the book and the technology. If they're playing games, they can play games which are tactile, and games that they can touch, feel. Or they can actually play the same game on the phone, right? So it's to show them the connection between the two. That's one. So that was about taking the technology. Coding is a big thing today. There's children who can be doing a lot of coding because it will be needed, right? How about understanding enough of it, not enough of coding, but enough of how that world works. So that if your child is the one who can be a coder, then why not? Let them go do programming and whatever else, software development. Then now, as a parent, if you're struggling about something, you have that 2-year-old, that 8-month, 9-month-old kid that you're talking about. There's resources online that can actually help you keep that child busy as you parent or as you struggle through whatever the struggle is for parenting. I brought up my children when technology wasn't as a major influence as it is now. And one of the things we used to do is, yes, at some period I was a working mom, but most of the time I wasn't. But I remember when my son was like 2 years old, one of the things we used to do is cook with him. What does cooking with him mean? There are songs that, so he's watched TV the whole day or something like that. And so there are songs that he has learned. We sing them with him. And as he's singing, I give him garlic. Peel the garlic, put it in that mortar and whatever, and have him pound it. So we are pounding to a nursery rhyme. We are pounding to a nursery rhyme. We are singing. We are bonding. We are connecting. We are having fun. Then I tell him, hey, you've cooked. Whatever. As he was growing up, set up the plates. We would, all the bottom drawers in the kitchen had the plastics, right? So he would take those. I tell him, put all the reds together, put all the greens together. What's happening? He's learning colors. He's learning numbers. He's keeping me company. He's out of my way. Fun. I'm bonding with him. And at the same time, I'm doing what I need to get done, which is cook that meal. If we actually borrowed and went online and got information on how we can balance it out as parents, it will end up being a lot easier than it actually is. It's when we think that we need to isolate everything. Now is my time to cook. Now is my time to talk to this kid. Now is my time to do this assignment. Now is my time to respond to email. It doesn't work.
Wow. There's a lot going on in my head right now. Because of what you're saying, there's a lot going on in my head, so I don't know how to ask my questions. Mm-hmm. So please excuse me. We'll just. This is like a rabbit hole for me. Mm. So we'll
enough rabbit.
We'll be going back and forth with these questions. Mm. So back to the analogy of your 2-year-old son. In that instance of you bringing them to the kitchen to cook with you. Mm. And they are pounding on the garlics, they have learned, mm-hmm. they have had fun, mm-hmm. And you have bonded with them. They have felt the presence of and
they will say they cooked,
and they will say they cooked.
So confidence
levels are also growing there, and they pick a passion.
Yes.
If it's,
he cooks better than me now. I'm sorry to say.
You see that they pick up a passion. Mm. Does that mean? It is important to involve children in what we do. And what extent is good? What is the extent of involving children in
what we do?
Yeah.
Yeah. One misconception that grown-ups have is that children will not be grown-ups one day.
Yes.
So everything you're doing...
They will never know.
now.
Yes.
They will do at some point in time.
Yes.
So it's in your best interest to actually involve them now in some of these things.
Some of the things that we do,
so that they're familiar and they're things that they already know how to do by the time they need to do them. Involving them now helps them make mistakes and learn from the mistakes when they're still safe, right? You don't want a kid learning that rice is not washed with soap.
When they are 20.
When they're 20. Or even worse when they're married.
When they're married.
You can't be waiting that long for them to learn the things that they need to do when they grow up.
Yeah.
They're going to be children for a maximum of 18 legally?
18, yeah.
Right? Then after that, they're basically adults.
Yeah.
Everything that you're doing now, they will need to do at some point in their life.
Yeah.
They will need to work for pay.
Yeah.
They will need to prepare certain things for themselves. They will need to take responsibility for other human beings, right? Whether they marry them, they do whatever, whether they give birth to them, whether they are, supervising them.
Yeah.
They will need to be responsible for other human beings.
Yeah.
They will need to care about their environment.
Yeah.
They will need to pick up. They will need to care for people who are worse off than they are, whether it's through health or through poverty or whatever it is. They will need to care for other people. If you're not showing them that now, you can't then complain later when they're grown-ups that they're not doing those things.
Yeah.
You can't bring up a child who all you're calling him is handsome, my son, my prince, my king, my whatever.
Pumpkin.
Whatever. You're calling him pretty, beautiful, whatever you're calling her.
Yes.
You bring them up that way and have everybody meet their need, then call them narcissistic later. They were brought up that way.
Yeah.
They were brought up to care for nobody but themselves.
Yeah.
So the only way to do it is to involve them.
Yeah. They didn't become a narcissist by haya. Here is narcissism. It was someone invested.
Yes.
Someone invested, and that someone is likely the person who brought them up.
The persons, the adults who are in their life. Yes.
That
I mentioned that I have run programs for children, right?
Yeah.
And we do some.
Yeah.
There's one camp that we had, and so what we do, we take away children for a week, Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday, and we just do life with them. Pick a lesson, teach you through the different activities through the week.
Yeah.
And so one time there was this boy, I remember, who had never wiped a table in his life. He had never washed a utensil in his life. And so we taught him how to do it.
Yeah.
It was messy. It was crazy. He had no idea how it's done. He made the mistakes. Yeah. We taught him through the mistakes. He cried through some of them. He saw other children doing it. Yeah. He's an only kid. He saw other children doing it, and he loved it. I mean, because if he doesn't know, then he's being left out. You see, because we'd put them in teams, and they have duties like throughout the camp.
Yeah.
When he was done with camp, he was so excited about the stuff that he has learned.
He has learned, yeah.
But who picked him at the end of the day? The house girl and the driver. So he runs to this house girl and he tells her, hey, you know, this is what we learned, and then we did, and then I'll be helping you because now I know how to do it. The girl came and told me, you've done the wrong thing. Because if he is caught helping me at home, I will be fired.
Oh, wow.
So I'd like you to go tell back this boy, yes, he has learned them. He's not allowed to do any of them at home.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Oh, wow.
So are you seeing how you cripple them?
That's crippling, and
because this kid was excited.
Yeah.
He had, of course, the ability.
Yeah.
It's something that he used to see her do and didn't know why.
Yeah.
Right? How come he can't do it?
Yeah.
Then he comes to an environment where every other child is doing it.
Yeah.
But he can't.
Because that's really choking for the child.
So now imagine him growing up without ever even having had such an experience.
And it's not just that he will not utilize the lessons he's learned. It's also that he will not build confidence in growing. Like
you're telling him there's something wrong with him.
There's something wrong with you.
Yes, he already came feeling like there's something wrong with him because he doesn't know how to do it.
Yes.
But now he's gone back home and he'll look like there's something wrong with you for wanting to do such things.
Yeah. Wow. This leads me to ask, there are domestic helps that we've hired at home, right? And they do a good job helping us raise our children and manage life, and they're useful. I mean, if you think about the things that we have to do in one day to just live a comfortable life, who wouldn't want someone helping with their chores at home? But are they entirely helpful as far as raising our children and teaching our children important life lessons and life skills are concerned? How do we balance so that we have, of course, the domestic helps, but that they don't choke our children from learning? They don't become an impediment to our children learning to be independent and doing stuff on their own. Yeah.
I feel as though it has to do with you also communicating your expectations to this help. I've had one for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
One person.
Yeah. Wow.
Working in my house the whole time. Some of the issues we have had, because they also have somebody else telling them what they're supposed to do. You see, we get information from around us, right? So when he would interact with other people,
and there's like an association of domestic workers in every neighborhood, in every
estate, in every neighborhood, there's someone saying kwenye mnafanya, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he thought that my expectation of him was to do everything for my children.
Yes.
So he would find himself doing stuff for them.
Yes.
Right? And then I'm fortunate that he loves kids. So he would find himself doing things for them.
Yeah.
And I would say, no, I want them to do this for themselves. So when I say they're washing this or they're doing this, they will do it for themselves.
Yeah.
So I come and I find he has done it. So one time I actually threatened. I told him, you will lose your job for helping my kids. Yeah. So decide
what do you want. Yeah.
Yes. You will actually lose your job for helping my children.
Yeah.
And so we started getting to a place where now, even when he got to a point where he was trusting me enough, I told him, this is what I'm trying to do. So that village that we're talking about, he's a key part of my
now
village.
He's come to be part of the village.
Part of the village. Because then when he understood what I'm trying to do with my children, he became a partner.
Yeah.
So that when I say I'd love them to learn how to cook, he knows, okay, fine, we'll all work on this thing in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not available, but my kids will also participate in the cooking.
Yeah.
So that he doesn't see as though he has to be the one doing it all, and he understands where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
But the other thing that it did was give him dignity for his job, right? Because I wasn't trying to say that you're the only one who can do this, he started respecting his job. One time when he wanted to quit, I told him, fine, no problem, you could quit and whatever, and we talked about it. And one of the big reasons was that job of his is demeaning. But we ended up looking at it this way. If he didn't do his job, I wouldn't be able to do mine. Meaning his job is as important as mine is. Because then, if I need to work then to provide the finances for him, then he needs to work so that I can work. So it's not like his job is beneath mine. They actually need to coexist. The two jobs need to coexist. So when you understand that this person's role is actually to partner with you as a parent in bringing up your children, then you're going to leverage on certain things. When it comes to cleaning, he has never ever made a bed for any of my children. Why? When will they ever learn how to do it themselves? Kind of thing. Cooking, yes. So he will cook when cooking has to be done, but then he'll cook some, they will start by preparing. Back to that whole story of pounding the garlic. That became the process. Involve them in the cooking so they can learn how to do it.
Yes. Is it useful for your children to know, because and this is me just thinking, I don't know if I'm shooting too high. Is it useful for your children to know that your domestic worker, your domestic help works for you as the parent and not for them?
Yes.
You are not... they will only work for you if you're paying the salary. But as long as I'm paying the salary, it is me they are helping.
Exactly.
So you sort out your stuff.
It is so important. And okay, again, this is also the foundation of we think that our children won't grow up. They do grow up at some point. And there's things that children hate to do. And amongst them is laundry, cooking, just household chores. The same things we as adults also don't like to do. And I remember, so yes, it's important that they know that this person is working for you. And I'm very big on that. Of when you see me asking for something, does not mean you need to do the same.
Exactly.
Because I'm the one who's paying him. Right? And therefore, you need to learn how to do these things. And I remember when my kids would complain about it, I would tell them, well, who will be doing them for you when you're older?
When you're older,
Then they would say, Stephen, me, I'll get somebody. I say, great. No problem. You will get somebody. How will you pay them? See, I'll have money. Okay, how will you have the money? So you introduce the element of work. Right? So you need to work to get paid or whatever it is. And so they also started working early. I remember, I think before my son was even 20, he would get jobs and pay the help to do his laundry, right? So one time I remember coming very annoyed, like upset, like, I told you not to be washing for these guys. He says, but I've been paid to do it. Okay, fine. You've been paid. Because then he's going to feel the pinch of his hard-earned money going to pay somebody else. And therefore, he then starts looking at the value, right? Do I go work harder? Make more so that I can be able to afford this. Right? Or am I going to save every money that I get by doing certain things myself? So again, remember, it's a journey. I'm talking about by the time he's 20. So this is a journey we started from when he was young, kind of thing. So as they grow up, you transition from space to space to the place where it's never really that important that they do certain things themselves. If they are balancing by paying this guy. If you're also paying him, great. I'm happy he's getting more money.
And so when they are children, and maybe you should help me define then if there's a certain age at which we will stop calling them children. Now we need to start working with them as adults or young adults.
Yes.
All right. So when they are children, it is important that we involve them in that sense. Bring them to the kitchen and pound the garlic. Teach them to,
take them to work.
Teach them to clean, to wipe tables. All right, because it is instilling in them the lessons on the value of work. It is instilling in them the lessons on the value of taking care of things, being independent, but also they're accomplishing tasks, and that builds their confidence. But what it is also doing, it is preparing them, and it is also preparing you when you begin to interact with them as teenagers.
Exactly.
Because then, there's a certain age they get to where every parent think that they are difficult.
Of course.
Are they really difficult, or did we, is it really a problem of their difficulty or where we started?
No, I think what they're doing is asserting their independence, which is a normal thing to do, right?
Yeah.
It's a normal thing to do. It's when you have not grown up trusting each other with information and trusting each other with, like when the parent is not necessarily credible and the child questions and the parent gets offended, right? So I think, yes, teenagehood is difficult because this kid is also trying to find themselves and understand themselves. At the same time, the parent is wondering, who do you think you are? Is thinking you're still a child, kind of thing. So that transitional time can end up being difficult as everybody is asserting their power, so to speak. Because the kid now needs to be learning. They already know how to question, right? Now, the parent's role is not to stop all the questions, but to guide on how to question and when to question and who to question.
Exactly.
Because that's where they're at.
Exactly.
So it becomes difficult when you're refusing to embrace the change that's already coming. Otherwise, it's not that difficult. Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Expect conflict. Because they're trying to find themselves. Yes. And remove themselves from you anyway.
Yeah. So I want us to come back and talk about now raising teenagers. We've been laying the foundation for children. But I want to ask the question, now going back to where we started the conversation and you said your work is connecting generations. Let me ask you this. If we get involved with our children from those young years, those early years of their lives, will there be need for us to do any work of connecting generations later? Does the connecting generation work begin? Should it begin at the foundational stage and get involved in their lives and do the work of parenting, or should we wait until our children understand things? And the understanding here is things they have picked on social media, things they have picked up on the technology that they are using, for us to then begin to try and connect with them when, and at that point there's a lot of conflict.
I'd say start early. As much as possible, start as soon as you possibly can to connect with this child. Now, what it does, it doesn't remove the need for connection later. It makes connection different. And it makes it easier. So if my child has grown up trusting me in the process, it means that they will trust me when they're a young adult. Right? I mean, I have been adult longer than my kids have. So it means that when they're having an issue with the whole young adult space, because they trusted me when they were 5, they will trust me when they're 25. Right? They're able to see me as a voice of reason in their life.
So trust does not happen overnight.
No, trust takes
It is a foundational thing.
Trust takes time. It takes 2 instances to break, but it takes time to build. So now for the parent who probably is asking, okay, wait, I have never connected with my children. I mean, like, my role, as one kid told me, is that the relationship between her and the dad is transactional. So if you have had a transactional relationship as opposed to a transformational one, you can always start anytime. Right? So basically, get started where you are and connect. What will happen, back to your question of will there be a need to connect? Right now, what we are doing is repairing the disconnect. Right? There'll be less disconnect to repair later on in life. But connection is still important. Until today, I connect with my dad. Why am I connecting with him? He's older than I am, of course. He's at a different space than I am. He's experiencing widowerhood, right? And so the conversations I'll have with him as the not young adult anymore, as the adult, we will still need to connect. I can't, connection doesn't end. What it does is morph along the edges to become different and to serve the purpose that the family or the child and parent are at that point in time. It's just that when you involve them earlier, connect earlier, it makes it easier to do it later.
Wow. I want us to come back for the next episode, and there are a couple of things that I want us to stay on the tail of. And you've said differentiating between transactional and transformational relationships. I want you to help us define, how do you know that this relationship is transactional, and how do you define a transformational relationship
for a parent. The other thing I want us to talk about when we come back is now, when the connection of generation does not happen early, when we need to do it, when we have to do it later in life, there's definitely a lot of trauma that has happened. There's definitely a lot of conflict that has happened. And so there is healing that needs to happen. And I know that there are so many parents right now watching us who need to go through that process of healing with and repairing their relationship with their teenage sons and daughters. Where do we begin? Okay. So I want us to talk about that when we return.
All right.
This is healing for the family. We are praying for your family. Have a good night.